a mother of three, a seemingly normal family. But behind closed doors in Cottonwood Heights, Utah, a chilling secret was brewing. This is the story of Jennifer Gledhill, a woman accused of murdering her husband in a crime that shocked an entire state. Jennifer Gledhill, 42, lived in suburban Cottonwood Heights with her three children. Friends and neighbors described her as caring and dedicated to her family. But behind the smiles, tension simmered. Her marriage to Matthew Johnson, a 51-year-old Utah National Guardsman, had been strained for years, marked by disagreements, separations, and alleged infidelities. Matthew Johnson was known in the community for his military service and steady work ethic. He appeared to be a devoted husband and father, but those close to the couple hinted at conflicts beneath the surface. Friends described arguments about finances, parenting, and Jennifer's alleged affair with a man outside the marriage. But no one expected that these marital tensions would escalate into murder, or that a mother could allegedly take such a drastic step. Divorce proceedings and legal disputes had further strained the marriage. Jennifer allegedly sought financial support and was reportedly under pressure to provide for her children, creating additional tension between the couple. Text messages and communications recovered later by investigators suggest a complex interplay of resentment, desperation, and secrecy. In the weeks leading up to September 21st, 2024, neighbors noticed unusual behavior. Jennifer reportedly seemed distant, distracted, and anxious. Rumors of an affair circulated quietly within the community, though most dismissed them as speculation, until tragedy struck. What happened next would transform a suburban family dispute into a chilling criminal investigation. Friends and relatives recall Jennifer's seemingly normal daily routines, school runs, errands, and family activities. Yet, investigators later revealed a hidden side: secret communications with a lover, financial demands to her father, and discussions that hinted at something far darker than marital discord. While the children were unaware, the adults in Jennifer's life were caught in a web of tension and suspicion. Her alleged affair, combined with disputes over money and custody, created the conditions for an act that would shock the community and grab national attention. Could a mother so devoted to her children be capable of murder? The answer would soon come to light. The stage was set. Jennifer Gledhill's life appeared ordinary, but hidden beneath was a complex mix of desire, frustration, secrecy, and possibly desperation. These elements would converge on a fateful night that changed everything. The suburban streets of Cottonwood Heights would witness an unimaginable crime, one that would spark an investigation, media frenzy, and a trial still months away. The story of Jennifer Gledhill had only just begun. September 21st, 2024. A day that began like any other in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. But by nightfall, the lives of three children, a grieving community, and an entire family would be forever changed. Jennifer Gledhill had allegedly been planning her actions for days. Investigators later revealed that tensions over her marriage, her affair, and financial pressures had reached a breaking point. Texts recovered from her phone suggest she feared confrontation and was desperate for control over the situation. Matthew Johnson, unaware of the full extent of his wife's distress, went about his day normally. Friends and family say he had no reason to suspect danger. He returned home that evening, expecting a routine night with his children, never imagining it would be his last. The alleged crime took place while Matthew slept. According to court documents, Jennifer reportedly shot her husband in his sleep, a chilling act of violence that shocked the community once the details emerged. She then allegedly hid his body, carefully attempting to erase any evidence of the murder. How does a mother, a wife, and a neighbor commit a crime so calculated in the sanctuary of her own home? The week following Matthew's disappearance was filled with questions and uncertainty. Neighbors noticed unusual behavior. Jennifer was reportedly anxious and evasive. Calls and messages from friends went unanswered, and the family dynamic appeared strained and tense. The breakthrough came when Jennifer allegedly confessed to her lover. According to prosecutors, she chillingly compared her actions to the Queen of Hearts' phrase, off with their heads, suggesting a disturbing detachment from the crime she had committed. Could a mother truly say such words about her own husband? And what does that reveal about her state of mind? Meanwhile, investigators traced evidence suggesting that Jennifer had enlisted her parents' help in covering up the murder. They allegedly assisted in hiding incriminating items, creating false leads, and delaying discovery. This involvement added layers of complexity and shock to an already disturbing case. Financial motives may also have played a role. Jennifer reportedly demanded $13,000 from her father days before the murder, highlighting a potential desperation in a plan to secure resources amid marital disputes. Investigators noted these messages as critical pieces in understanding motive and premeditation. The body of Matthew Johnson was never recovered, leaving investigators to piece together the crime from confessions, communications, and circumstantial evidence. This lack of a body made the investigation particularly challenging, and the media attention intensified public scrutiny. Without a body, how could authorities prove murder? And how could a community process a crime that left so few physical answers? Neighbors, friends, and even family were left questioning what they thought they knew. How could a seemingly normal suburban household harbor such dark secrets? And why did Jennifer allegedly go to such lengths to conceal her actions? By the end of the week, police had enough evidence to move forward. Calls, confessions, and witness statements began to create a clearer picture of what happened. The alleged murder of Matthew Johnson was now no longer a rumor. It was a shocking reality. From quiet streets to national headlines, the crime that began in a suburban home would ignite an investigation, a media frenzy, and questions that may never be fully answered. Parents' alleged involvement and the complex web of deceit surrounding Jennifer Gledhill. The story was only beginning to unfold. After the shocking disappearance of Matthew Johnson, investigators were searching for answers. And then, a chilling confession emerged, one that would implicate not just Jennifer Gledhill, but her own family. Jennifer allegedly confessed to her lover that she had killed her husband. Prosecutors later highlighted the disturbing nature of her statements, including a remark reminiscent of the Queen of Hearts, off with their heads. This phrase suggested a detachment from reality and a possible cold-bloodedness. Could someone say such words about their own spouse and mean them? The confession was critical for investigators. While there was no body, Jennifer's alleged statements created a legal pathway to charges. Authorities began to piece together her communications, social media activity, and interactions with friends and family, forming a clearer picture of premeditation. Jennifer's parents soon became involved. Prosecutors alleged that they assisted in concealing evidence, possibly to protect their daughter. Items were allegedly hidden, misleading information provided, and attempts made to delay discovery of the crime. When the family becomes part of the crime, how deep does the complicity run? Investigators interviewed neighbors, friends, and relatives. Patterns emerged. Unusual phone activity, mysterious trips, and inconsistent statements. Every detail added weight to the case, showing that the disappearance was not random. It was a carefully orchestrated act. The alleged motive became clearer. Jennifer reportedly demanded $13,000 from her father shortly before the murder, suggesting financial desperation. Combined with marital strife and the affair, these factors painted a picture of a woman driven by a mix of anger, fear, and desire for control. Was this a crime of passion or a calculated act with a cold financial plan? The parents' involvement complicated the case. They were eventually arrested for allegedly helping hide evidence, highlighting the complexity of family dynamics in criminal behavior. Authorities examined their actions carefully to determine if they were co-conspirators or victims of their daughter's manipulations. Legal experts noted that cases involving family complicity often present unique challenges. Questions about loyalty, manipulation, and moral responsibility intertwine with forensic evidence, making it difficult to separate intent from influence. When blood ties meet criminal intent, who is truly responsible? The confession also raised psychological questions. Experts speculated about Jennifer's mindset, whether she acted with premeditation, emotional detachment, or under stress from her personal life. Her chilling remark to her lover would be examined repeatedly in court and the media. As investigators continued their work, every lead was scrutinized. Communications, financial records, and witness statements were cross-referenced. The lack of a body made the confession and circumstantial evidence even more critical for moving forward with charges. Without a body, could prosecutors prove murder, or would the alleged confession alone carry the weight of the law? The Gledhill case demonstrates how a single confession can unravel an entire family's life. The alleged murder, combined with parental involvement, creates a story of deceit, betrayal, and calculated risk, one that has captivated Utah and the nation. The story of Jennifer Gledhill was far from over. With the alleged murder of Matthew Johnson and Jennifer Gledhill's chilling confession, law enforcement faced a race against time, not only to gather evidence, but also to manage a media storm that had already captured the nation's attention. Investigators quickly realized that the missing body made the case unusually complex. Without physical confirmation of a murder, authorities relied heavily on Jennifer's alleged confession, digital communications, and the parents' suspected involvement. Every phone record, text, and financial transaction became a critical piece of the puzzle. Police and prosecutors reviewed hundreds of communications, cross-referencing messages with known movements. Investigators sought to establish a timeline for September 21, 2024, tracking Jennifer's actions from morning until the fateful night. Each detail added pressure, and public scrutiny intensified. How can investigators reconstruct a murder without a body, relying only on confessions, digital footprints, and circumstantial evidence? The media quickly picked up the story. Headlines emphasized betrayal, intrigue, and family complicity. Local news outlets called it a suburban tragedy. National outlets framed it as a shocking crime of passion with psychological implications. Public fascination grew. Social media discussions exploded, with neighbors, friends, and strangers analyzing every detail of the case. Rumors about motives, the parents' involvement, and the missing body fueled debates, intensifying pressure on law enforcement to act quickly. When the public watches closely, every misstep is magnified, and every clue becomes part of a national conversation. Investigators faced immense challenges. The alleged involvement of Jennifer's parents complicated witness statements. How much had they known? Were they truly complicit or misled by their daughter? Forensics and digital evidence became the backbone of the case. Authorities also explored financial records. The $13,000 demand Jennifer allegedly made to her father days before the murder became a key piece of evidence. It suggested potential motive, planning, and premeditation, crucial for a case without a body. Money, secrecy, betrayal. When these elements collide, the lines between desperation and criminal intent blur. Community members were stunned. Neighbors described the family as quiet and typical, unable to reconcile the shocking allegations with the family they had known. Schools, workplaces, and social circles buzzed with speculation, intensifying the pressure on local authorities. As evidence mounted, prosecutors prepared their case. Each piece of circumstantial evidence, confessions, phone records, alleged parental involvement, financial transactions, had to be meticulously documented. The media continued to report every development, creating a sense of urgency and tension surrounding the trial. In a case without a body, every piece of evidence is magnified, every action scrutinized, every word dissected. Investigators also faced the challenge of public expectations. With the media framing the story as a crime of passion and betrayal, authorities had to ensure that pressure didn't compromise the integrity of the investigation. Each decision, from interviews to forensic analysis, was critical. By late 2024, the investigation had revealed a tangled web. Jennifer's alleged premeditation, her parents' possible complicity, and the intricate digital trail that connected the dots. Yet questions remained. Would the case hold up in court? Could prosecutors prove murder without a body? When evidence is circumstantial, the stakes are higher, and the truth becomes a puzzle investigators must solve with painstaking care. The Gledhill case highlighted the challenges of modern investigations. Digital footprints, financial evidence, witness credibility, and media pressure all played critical roles. As the trial approached, the public's fascination only intensified, setting the stage for a courtroom drama that would capture nationwide attention. After months of investigation, confessions, and media frenzy, the Jennifer Gledhill case was headed to court. But could justice be served without a body? And would the courtroom reveal the truth behind this shocking family tragedy? Jennifer Gledhill faced 9 felony charges, including first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Her parents were also charged with aiding in the concealment of evidence. For the prosecution, the challenge was clear: prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt, despite the absence of Matthew Johnson's body. The prosecution relied heavily on Jennifer's alleged confession to her lover, her text messages to her father, and circumstantial evidence suggesting premeditation. Each piece was carefully documented to create a narrative that would convince the jury of her guilt. Could words, texts, and witness statements carry the weight of a missing body in proving murder? The defense focused on challenging the credibility of the confession, questioning the parents' involvement, and highlighting gaps in the physical evidence. Without a body, they argued, it was impossible to definitively prove Matthew Johnson's death was caused by Jennifer. The trial drew national attention. Media coverage, social media commentary, and public interest created a high-pressure environment. Every courtroom motion, every witness testimony, and every cross-examination was scrutinized, making this one of Utah's most closely followed cases. In the age of instant news and social media, can a fair trial survive under the weight of public opinion? Psychologists and criminal experts speculated on Jennifer's mindset. Was she a calculating killer or a woman driven to desperation? Could emotional stress, financial pressure, and personal conflict explain her alleged actions, or were they evidence of premeditated malice? The parents' role added a complex layer. Prosecutors argued they knowingly helped conceal evidence, while the defense claimed they acted out of familial loyalty, misled by Jennifer's manipulations. This dynamic became a key narrative in courtroom proceedings. When blood ties entangle with criminal intent, the lines between loyalty and legality blur. As the trial progressed, jurors examined witness statements, communications, and expert testimony. The lack of a body remained a focal point, creating a suspenseful atmosphere in the courtroom and keeping public interest at a fever pitch. Outside the courtroom, the public followed every development. Social media debates, news updates, and community discussions highlighted the emotional impact of the case, showing how deeply a single crime could ripple through society. In a small Utah community, one alleged murder had become a national spectacle, a story of family, betrayal, and unanswered questions. Legal analysts noted that cases involving confessions, family complicity, and circumstantial evidence require meticulous prosecution. Every detail, timing, behavior, and communication could influence the jury's perception of guilt or innocence. The trial also underscored broader societal questions. How do we interpret confessions without physical evidence? How does family involvement shape the perception of culpability? And how can justice be served when the crime itself remains partially hidden? The Gledhill case challenges not just a jury, but a community, a state, and a nation, forcing all to confront the darkest possibilities of human behavior. As the trial unfolded, Jennifer Gledhill, her parents, and the legal teams battled through evidence, testimony, and public scrutiny. Every day brought new revelations, insights, and questions. And while the courtroom drama played out, the nation watched, fascinated and horrified by the story of betrayal, murder, and family complicity. The Jennifer Gledhill case is far from over. With trial dates approaching, questions remain unanswered, evidence continues to unfold, and the chilling story that began in a suburban home in Utah is still gripping the nation. One thing is certain: the search for truth, justice, and closure has only just begun.